What's up, spectators? Welcome back to an episode of Professor Layton and the Azran Legacy. Last time we were, we dropped by the police station to find if any, Targent thefts occurred. I worded that poorly. If any items were stolen by Targent. And it looks like there's something going on at the museum. There have been many thefts, even though the items have been recovered. So we're here, we're speaking with Clark, investigating. Well, it appears that nearly all the pieces are fake. Right, we just solved the puzzle, where all the pieces, we were sifting between real fragments and fake fragments. I know. I didn't want to believe it either. I almost hoped you might prove me wrong. There must be an explanation. Perhaps if we take a step back and review the information we have. Practical as ever, Herschel. Yes, let's think this through properly. Just say the word when you're ready. Upon investigation of the string of robberies that have taken place at the museum, it becomes apparent that some artifacts were replaced with fakes. Who could the culprit be? The police are at a complete loss despite their best efforts. Incidentally, Herschel, is this... Ah, of course. You've never met in person, have you? My apologies for not introducing myself earlier. I am Desmond Sycamore. Clark Triton, it is an honor to finally meet you, Professor Sycamore. I must admit these are rather strange circumstances. No matter. As an archaeologist, I am as eager as you are to see this thief and vandal brought to justice. Yes, we'll help however we can. Clark, do you know anything about the other stolen artifacts? As a matter of fact, yes. I have here a complete case report from Scotland Yard. Let's see. All 5 artifacts were found on different digs, but always deeper than anything previously found in the area. The artifacts were all gifted by different donors, and they were all certified genuine at the time they were received. They were all very deep underground, so extremely ancient. Perhaps there was difficulty in assigning their origin. Yes, that is correct. None of the artifacts belong to any civilization known to have inhabited the area in which they were found. Professor, do you think... Yes, it appears highly likely that all these artifacts are of Azran origin. And I have a fairly good idea who might be responsible for their theft. What do you think, Professor? Could it have been Descalais? Descalais? He was your rival in several recent cases, was he not? It's one possibility, but I think there's a far more obvious culprit, don't you? Alright. It must have been Targent. I agree, and they are certainly capable of such thefts. Targent. An unscrupulous and powerful secret organization. Their interest in the Azran leans toward the obsessive. They certainly have no qualms about robbing the museum then. Still, that doesn't explain how they did it. After the first incident, the police tightened the security on this place tenfold. All information about the museum was on a need-to-know basis, and they took particular care with the guard routes and timetables. I really can't imagine how a thief could have sneaked in and out unnoticed on 5 separate occasions. Did you know? Because here in North America, we're used to saying snuck, but the proper saying is sneaked. But it's an Americanization that happened in the 1800s, which is pretty interesting. But that's why I still want to say snuck, and sneaked sounds really weird to me. But it is correct. I think I have an inkling of how this was accomplished, Professor. I think I may have come to the same sorry conclusion. The multiple thefts prove it. Prove what? Please explain. Very well. How did the culprit sneak past the guards? They work for Scotland Yard. Or they knew the shift schedule. The culprit must be inside Scotland Yard. I don't see any other possibility. If only the police know about the guard rotation, the culprit must be one of them. Yes, that was my conclusion as well. Uh-oh, Detective Bloom, you better watch out! Goodness, if that's the case, well, all bets are off. Something else bothers me though. That broken artifact. Where did the fake pieces come from? And could it be that all the recovered artifacts are fake? Dr. Triton, how difficult would it be to create copies that would fool the experts here at the museum? Very difficult. It's not just a question of time and money. You need archaeological expertise, gifted craftsmen. All things that Targe didn't have at hand, I'm afraid. What they didn't have was a way to return the fake artifacts to the museum without arousing suspicion. Unless... They used the investigation. The policeman outside didn't seem to know much about the recovery of the artifacts. What if the police investigation was a sham? Make a show of conducting an investigation while the fakes are being made, then simply recover the artifacts once they're ready. That might actually work, if the culprit was indeed part of the police, as you suggested. I think I am beginning to see the scope of it. No simple constable would have the power to accomplish this, though. No, the perpetrator must hold the position of influence. I believe Targent has a mole within the upper ranks of the police. Surely not. To think they could have infiltrated our institutions to that extent. Targent's power must be great indeed. You all right there, Dr. Triton? Have you discovered anything amiss? No, all is well, Constable. Thank you. I'd like to continue examining these artifacts, though, if you don't mind. Please, Doctor, they're all yours, so to speak. I'm still searching the museum for clues. Give us a shout if you need anything. Yes, thank you. That was very prudent of you. Well, if there really is a mole within the police, we can't risk them finding out what we know, can we? No, indeed. There's no reason to doubt these men here, but we do not know who they might report to. I think our best course of action is to go directly to Scotland Yard. Yes, we must identify the mole as soon as possible without learning them first. Let's take the bus straight there. Now where shall we go? Scotland Yard. Please let me through! Oh dear. Good day, sirs. I'm afraid the station is on high alert at the moment and we can only address urgent matters. I'll have to assess the importance of your visit based on the number of puzzles you have solved so far. What's this then? Is that all you've solved? I'm afraid I cannot let you in on those credentials, sir. You need to have solved at least 25 puzzles. Oh dear, okay. So, instead of doing what I've done before, which is do like 1,000,000 puzzles at once, I think I'm just gonna fast forward to doing the 4. And let me know in the comments, because doing that like 2-hour long video of just puzzles was pretty brutal and grueling. I don't know if anyone actually cared to watch pure puzzles. I do like it when it's sort of broken up, so let me know. But for this one, I'm gonna skip ahead to doing all 25. See ya laters! Okay, so I just got back from Keats. He only had 5 puzzles, but that's exactly how much I needed because I went from 20 to 25 puzzles, so now I should be able to go into Scotland Yard. Have you solved some more puzzles? It seems you fulfill our requirement. 25 or more puzzles solved. Please go on in. Oh, let me in, damn it. Ah, Inspector Croskey, how fortuitous it is to find you here. Ah, Layton, hoping to introduce someone to the strong arm of the law, are you? Actually, there is a matter I'd like to discuss with you. I was wondering if you knew who was in charge of investigating the thefts at the museum. I think Bloom supervised those himself. Oh, he'll be able to help us then. I presume Detective Bloom was also the one who returned the recovered artifacts to the museum. Naturally, he's a real archaeology buff, so he took a personal interest in the case. He was really shuffed to get the things back. He knew what they were right away, didn't even need to get any tests done. So he likes archaeology as well as solving crimes. Sounds like you, Professor. Pardon me, Inspector. I have one last question. Ask away! Who else had access to the artifacts between the time they were found and the time they were returned to the museum? You think Bloom would trust these clumsy elves with such fragile objects? Nobody else got near them. Now, Layton, spit it out! Do you know something about the museum thefts? I do, Inspector, and I have to thank you. You've just helped us identify the perpetrator. What? Really, Professor? Think about it, Luke. Remember all we have learned today. Inspector Croskey, would you please accompany us to Detective Bloom's office? Of course, Layton. I'm afraid you've lost me, but I suppose you and Bloom will clear it all up. Time to go to jail, Bloom. No more blooming for you today. Layton, hello again. How may I help? Detective Bloom, are you familiar with an organization named Targe? I know of it. Go on, please. I have reason to believe that Targe are the ones responsible for the recent thefts at the museum. Oh, very impressive, Layton. If you have deduced that much, I suppose there's no reason to be coy. As a matter of fact, I also suspect Targe in this case. But as yet, I've no success in finding where their agent fled to. They're a slippery lot. So you've not considered looking for the criminal inside Scotland Yard? What? One of our own? That's absurd, Professor. I'm sorry, I expected a lead, not ludicrous conjecture. If you'll excuse me, I must return to work. You mean jail?
This is no mere conjecture, Detective. I am confident that I've positively identified the criminal in question.
Well, in that case, I'm all ears. Please elaborate.
The thief stole the artifacts and replaced them with fakes. He manipulated police information and disrupted the investigation. It must therefore have been someone in a position of power within the police who has been working undercover for Targe for some time. And that person is you.
Oh, he's totally gonna get away. What's this, Layton? Have you lost your mind? Inspector, I assure you I wouldn't make such an accusation without solid proof. This should be interesting. Please go on, Professor. Very well. Detective Bloom, I understand that you were in charge of the museum theft case. That is correct. To increase museum security, you restricted information concerning guard shift patterns to just a few police officers. One of whom was yourself, of course. Yes, obviously. I was the one who gave out all the guard instructions. Evidently, my measures were not enough, and the thief was able to steal more items. Poor judgment on my part, I'll admit. Yes, there were in fact several thefts in all, yet you managed to recover every single one of the stolen artifacts. That is quite remarkable, I must say. Naturally, I was shamed by my failure to protect the items. After that, I poured every available resource into finding them. I see. And may I ask what you did with the artifacts after they were found, before you returned them to the museum? I kept them here where they would be safe. What of it? In that case, I can only come to one conclusion, that you are the thief. Nobody else would have been able to replace the real artifacts with fake ones. And that is your proof that I am the criminal. Whew, I was worried there for a moment. That reasoning will never hold up to any kind of examination. Just because I was the one in charge of guarding those objects doesn't mean that they were in my sight the whole time. In fact, there would have been plenty of opportunities for other officers to make the switch. Thank you, Detective Bloom. I'm sorry? What you just said confirms everything. Tell me, how did you know that the artifacts had been replaced with fakes? But isn't that what you just... The fact that some of the recovered items were fake was only established an hour ago by myself and a few others. Emmy, Luke, you can bear witness. What did the constable in the museum tell us about the stolen artifacts? He just said that the detective on the case got all the objects back and how great the officers at Scotland Yard are. Yeah, he certainly didn't say anything about them being fake. Exactly. We were the only people to know about the fake artifacts. So please explain, when did you find out about it, Detective Bloom? What are you talking about, Layton? You said it yourself just now. You accused me on the basis that only I had the chance to replace the artifacts with fake ones. Ah, yes, you're quite right. However, it is your reaction to that which is puzzling. You were the detective in charge of this case. This was a crucial piece of new information. Shouldn't you have been surprised, horrified even, to hear that the precious articles you had recovered were fake? But you were not surprised, because you knew perfectly well that the artifacts were fake. Because you orchestrated the swap in the first place. Do you deny it? It seems I underestimated you, Layton. Then you admit it! You're a Targent mole! I think I'd better say no more. I see. Detective Leonard Bloom, I am arresting you on suspicion of theft, forgery, and corruption. Whew, that's one fewer Target agents out there. Already, just like that, we're wrapping it up? You did it, Professor. Game over. A corrupt police officer must have been claiming to recover the stolen artifacts while actually replacing them with fakes and making away with the real ones. The only officer in position to pull off such a crime was D.I. Leonard Bloom himself. Okay. Bloom? That upstart? He was our mole? Yes, Chief. He all but admitted it. I knew there was something off about him. Well, good work, Croskey. I'll take it from here. Yes, Chief. Thank you, Chief. I suppose that man is Inspector Croskey's superior. Wow, I've never seen Croskey stand to attention like that. I'm glad to see that Scotland Yard is not wholly corrupted. Yes, as long as their like are here, the safety of London is assured. Well then, case closed, gentlemen. One case closed, perhaps. Emmy, do you recall what the main goal of our current investigation is? Oh, right. We were about to set off around the world looking for the 5 Azran eggs, weren't we? Haha, yes! And we haven't even started that part yet. Quiet. Let's not dilly-dally any longer. It is time to follow the trail the Azran have left for us. Right. Back to the aerodrome, then. Bloom is out. His cover's been blown. Is this Layton's work? Yes. Shall I kill him, sir? No. Do not interfere. Now they have Bloom. They'll think they've won. They will let their guard down. Nothing will stand in the way of our plans. In any case, I still need them. There's still so much they can do for us. Yes, sir. Then I will assign the assassins to other tasks for now. Where are they? What's, like, I can see the skylight. I still can't believe we're going round the world. It's so exciting. It will be a very lengthy and tiring journey, not to mention dangerous. I do wonder if it's advisable to take you with us. Don't even think about it, Professor. I'm going with you whether you like it or not. Is that the way it is? Ho ho, very well then. The Bostonius awaits. Wait, Herschel! Is that... What are you doing here? Herschel, I'm so glad we caught you. Ma, Pa, what are you doing here? We heard that you were setting off on a grand trip around the world and you never breathed a word of it. Yes, we rushed over here right away. We were lucky with the buses, thank goodness. Honestly though, you could have given us a ring before you left. Come on, Ma, you know I travel for work from time to time. You wait till you have children, Herschel Layton. You never stop worrying about them, not even when they're all grown up. I know you, a quiet, respectable academic with a tendency to do wild and extraordinary things with the fancy takes him. When? Ho ho ho! Just like someone else I know when she was younger. Didn't you once set off on a trip to John O. Groats with nothing but a fishing rod and a penknife, Ma? That was 40 years ago, Herschel. It was a different world. Now I brought you some of my cherry fruitcake for your trip. Thank you, Ma. That's very thoughtful of you. Well then, I should get going. Thank you for coming all the way out here to see me off. It was nothing, son. Anyway, enjoy your trip. And do give your old parents some news while you're away. Yes, send us a postcard now and again. I promise. And I'll come by to see you when I get back. And with that, why don't we end this video here? So stay tuned tomorrow for the next episode, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye!